Rightio, so the glue has dried now on the lid and the base, so I've got those glued on. If we did a tiny bit of sanding on the bottom before we put it together, this might be a little bit tight to get inside there, the slider, but mine fits perfectly because I didn't actually sand that, as you might remember. But if you did sand it, it's a little bit tight, it's not a problem because we want that to be a fairly snug fit anyway. So what we're going to do now is just sand down just a very first sand of the box so that we can then start to cut off the lid, and also we'll put some... Okay, so the video camera just stopped then, don't know why, I'm trying a different app. But all I did was come over here and just very gently sanded a little bit off of the lid and a little bit off of the box, just a tiny bit to make sure that they would join nicely. And I was just saying as well, I forgot to take notice when I took it off as to which way it goes, this way or that way. So probably you need to, need to just double check that and probably even make a mark somewhere so you know the left and the left lines up and the right will line up. Yeah, and in fact another problem I've noticed even just doing that now is there is a tiny little gap now, and so even in sanding that, if the belt is a little bit out, and if you can see that gap there, that's not really what we want. I don't want to have a gap like that. So sanding it maybe not even be the best option. Perhaps what we're better off doing if we've got to trim it is just putting it back on the table saw and moving this saw blade across by just a half a mil. So I was on 33.5 before. If I set this to 33 and very carefully keep it well in against the fence all the way through, and keep your fingers well out of the way, of course. Okay, and that's come up pretty neat. And the reason why I said to set the blade only to the 9 or 10 mils high is because it keeps, the higher it goes, if it's a little bit off of being square, it does make a difference on there. Whereas if you've got it just that height, it tends to give a better result in the corners. So that's perfect. I'm actually going to do the same on my bottom area here. And I'll have to just measure what the size of it is now, which this is currently about 50. Yours will be different, so if you just measure yours, but 50 seems to be about right on mine. So I'm going to set this to 50 and just do the same thing, lightly shave off that join. That one, I reckon there was a bit of dust in there because suddenly that one's come up with a big step. And this one's doing nothing. So now I'm going to have to take it down to 49.5 because that bottom one there ended up, as you can see it, probably there, basically end up putting that big ledge across the whole bottom. It's like there was a piece of sawdust stuck in behind the fence, and so it didn't quite go right back in there. So maybe I better blow that out each time. Okay, so that's come up very good now, and the seal on there is pretty much perfect. Now I was talking before about I forgot to check which way the box went, but if you look at the end grain on some of these pieces, you should be able to work out that the grain matches. So the circles on the end grain of the joints there match up. If I put it the other way, the end grain, oh, it still matches up, but this one at the bottom doesn't. Okay, whereas now, the one at the bottom, the curves go in the same direction on both sides. So that's the way it goes, and probably now's the point to mark that. That's enough for this video. The next one I do is going to be, we're going to do a little bit of routing around the edge there. So I'm going to show you how to use the router and how to set that up.